Hello, hello. How is it going, everyone? Welcome to Facebook Live. Right, this is Eunice Tan coming live from Singapore. If you can hear me, loud and clear, type loud and clear in the chat box. Right, my audio just told me that it's perfect. It's perfect on my end, but if you can hear me or cannot hear me, just let me know in the chat box. Right, good evening, everyone, or good morning, good afternoon. If you're watching this from Singapore or overseas, let me know where are you watching this from and what time is it there, what's the time zone, which city are you watching this from? Right, so how is it going over there? On your end, are you still how's things going on? Is it still locked down? Are you having your breakfast, lunch, or dinner? If you're watching this from Singapore, have you had your dinner, or are you watching this while having your dinner as well? Right, my name is Eunice. I'm an entrepreneur, speaker, and trainer. Welcome to our Facebook page and YouTube channel on Daily People Skills. Right, once again, welcome to our weekly Facebook Live sessions where we share our experiences when dealing with people and the mistakes we made, and of course, many of the hot tips and solutions we use in our daily lives. Now, many people think that people skills is just about EQ, communication skills, leadership skills, but people skills go much, much beyond that. At the bottom line, it is about who you really, really are, because before you can manage anyone, you must first manage yourself. It is also one skill that will never be replaced by technology and artificial intelligence. More about that later on. For now, let's jump right into today's topic. Now, today's topic is going to be very interesting, right? Have you ever had this conversation where someone asks you to do something, right? For example, at work, and you ask him, when do you want this? And he said, yesterday. Right. I don't know how many of you experienced that. A lot of my mentors, maybe they just want to train me up. They say that to me all the time, right? Now, in a typical week, have you ever had someone say to you or you saying to others, why is this not done yet? There's not enough time, or the deadline is tomorrow, right? Have you ever felt like this before? Everyone wants your attention, your family, your work, even your pets want your attention, and everything seems to need to be done by today. Some already overdue. So in this era of speed and impatience, how do you get more things done efficiently and effectively without burning out? Now, in this session, I'm going to explore 7 different methods that I've learned from others and I've used it myself, and see whether do they work and when do they work and how do they work, right? And see whether this is for you or not, and see whether are you already practicing it. So let's get started for today. Right, let me share my screen. Okay, right. So today's topic is on how to get more things done faster, and we're going to explore some of the methods, because some people say that some of the so-called methods may not work for them or not suitable for them. So we're going to explore some of the methods that we're going to see whether they work for you or not for you, right? And with pros and cons, or maybe sometimes it's just a matter of the context, or when does it work, when does it not work. Right. So first up, before we do anything, right, just want to share something about things done. There are actually, when it comes to tasks, there are two nature of the task. There are two kind of natures for the of a particular task. One is more on the logic side, and where you do your strategy, you do your planning. It's very process driven and it's very operations in nature. Now, another kind versus another kind where it's actually more creativity, right? It requires your creativity, it requires you to think outside the box, and so usually a lot of thinking and even testing is involved. Like you need to test out a theory that you have come up with. So some example would be like solving a problem that you have never come across. Like a lot of businesses are pivoting to online, right? And a lot of and companies are just revamping a lot of their how they work and all that, right? So you need to solve a problem, and this problem might be the first time you hit this kind of problem, and you need to think about it. Now it could be something about, let's say, a reflection or a review of what's going on, and sometimes maybe you're involved in the events and you need to do some decorations. It's part of your job, and or some of you are involved in the games activities. And these days, right, a lot of people are doing videos, right, like this. So a lot of video productions, even the pre-productions, you have to think about the concept, the script, and the storyboard. You have to think about the production. You have to think of the editing after that. Now, all these require a lot of creativity. Now, it's very important to know what's the nature of the task that you are involved in, right? Why we need to know the difference, I'll explain in a bit. But the thing is that why is it that some of the methods that you hear in the industry or you have come across, how to increase your productivity, how to be more efficient, effective, right? Why is it that that does not work for you? Is because you don't realize some of these methods are more suitable for logic tasks, and some of these methods are more suitable for creative works, and sometimes it's the other way around. So you need to know which method works and what's the nature of the task that you're involved in. Now, of course, there is an overlap between the two. Some tasks are just, you need both logic and creativity at the same time. In fact, I was doing this research on this topic, right? And I came across this term called logical creativity, right? So in a way, it makes sense also. So for example, you need creativity in coming up with a new strategy, right? Sometime earlier on, I said that strategy more for in terms of logic, because you need to see what comes next, and what is the outcome that you want to achieve. It's kind of quite left brain, very logical kind of thing. But at the same time, you need to have creativity to come up with a new strategy, right? Whether at work or getting your children to eat their vegetables. So parents, if your children are not eating vegetables, you need to get them to eat their greens, right? So think of a new strategy. You need to be creative, right? Okay, right. So the way to solve the two nature of tasks can be quite different, and that's where some form of conflict of the speed will take place. So for example, right, logical tasks usually require and very often that can be done at leopard speed. I call it leopard speed, right? It's very action mode, and you know how fast a leopard move, right? It's just pom, 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 and it's very action packed, right? So when it's a logic kind of work, you can just say, okay, it's like a checklist. You just check. These are the things to do. We have 1 hour to do it. Pom, 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 right? You do this, you do that, and then okay, what comes next? I'll call this person when this should be here by by what time and by when, and all those things. It's very quantitative, it's very logic, it's very left brain, right? But creative works requires you more often than not. They require you to sit down and dig into things and have a feel of what's going on, and some things cannot be rushed. Right, so you need to so-called sometimes I call it the quiet times, right? Do not disturb me time, D&D time, right? I need to think through what is really going on. I need to think through what the customer really want. Look at the behavior, and sometimes even do some people watching, right? So this is where you need to look at what is the nature of the task that you are required to do. Right. So, for example, we talked about video earlier on. Now we talk about video preparation, production, and editing. Right. Now, on one hand, sometimes even if you have already have a template to work with, after a while, you know what are things to go in, what are the shots you want, and all that. But you will still need to find the right things to fill in the template. So, for example, if someone is doing shooting a cooking show, right? A lot of people go into cooking, bakery, and all those things. Right, and you need to at least find the right kind of kitchen, right? Your kind of food and the kind of kitchen, it has to match, and it has to have the right fit. So sometimes the finding of the right kind of kitchen will take time, but yet at the same time you have a deadline to adhere to, and the operations or managers say, why are you taking such a long time to find a kitchen, right? Just find any kitchen, but you can't, you see. So this is where the conflict comes in, because on one hand, somebody will just want to check off the list of things to do. To them, it goes into the logic part. But on the other hand, the person who is doing it, right, the executive, the assistant who's doing it, they just find that you just need to, it's not quite the right feel yet. So they want to find another one that is a more better fit. So they will take some time. It requires some kind of creativity. So this is where people conflict, and there's a clash of interest, and so as to speak, and disagreement, or why are you so slow, that kind of thing. It's not that someone is slow at times. Okay, sometimes some people are slow, right? But I'm talking about normal circumstances. Yes, a lot of things are, there's always exceptions to the rule, but we're always talking about most of the time, or generally, or normal circumstances. Now, so this conflict of speed is where the problems lie, right? So on one hand, you need to churn out the result very quickly, but on the other hand, it takes time to churn out decent result. We will see some of the methods that we will be discussing later, how these can help to resolve these issues. Now, the second point I want to mention before we explore the different methods is that we can't talk about getting things done without talking about prioritizing things, right? You need to talk about prioritize, right? So now, the thing about priority, right, or prioritizing things, right, there are actually two problems that people tend to encounter from time to time, right? So the first thing is that how do you prioritize, right? Sometimes is your priority may not be somebody else's priority, and somebody's priority may not be your priority. So this is what happened when someone said that such a simple thing and you take such a long time to do, right? So this is where again another possibility of conflict. Now another thing is that I want to mention is how the second one I want to talk about is you don't know, what if you just don't know how to prioritize. Okay, don't laugh, right? Some of you are like laughing in that sense, like how do you know, how can you not know, right? It's really some there have met people who really don't know how to prioritize in that sense. So what they do is that why? Because it means that some things are important than others. But you see, some people think that everything is important, right? Either you think everything is important, or you don't want to entertain the idea of some things are more important than others, right? So let me repeat that again. Okay, so for some people, they don't know how to prioritize because it means some things are more important than others. So either you think everything is important, so if everything is important, so how do you prioritize then? Or you don't want to entertain the idea of some things that are more important than others. Right? It means because you are, some it also indirectly means that some people are more important than the others. Some people are just, they are so nice, they treat everybody the same. They think that, oh, everybody should be treated equally. So that's where they are being torn. Okay, everybody is urgent, everybody is important. So how do I go about doing things? Right? So they're being torn. One moment they do this, one moment they do that. They don't know how to prioritize, right? And they just do whatever that comes along. Now, why do I say that? Because I was in such a mental state before, and sometimes I still am, because sometimes I think that, it's just because the person is an admin assistant doesn't mean that her job or what she requires from me is not important, because maybe indirectly that is what the CEO required, that is what the client required, right? So for some people, they just simply don't know how to prioritize, and they don't look at whether is it urgent, is it important, or who is asking, and maybe they also underestimate the amount of time that they need to get things done, right? So they don't know, they just go with the flow, and then just flow with the current. And very often I've seen this so often, right? Some people, they just they just do things halfway, right? They do this and then somebody else asks them to do this, and then they go on to the next one. Now, so you need to know how to prioritize. And with that, right, let's go on to the 7 methods that I'm going to share with you. Right, this is for those, this is how you can prioritize. And for those who don't know how to prioritize, don't have difficulty prioritizing things, right, you can use these 7 methods as a guide. Right, so let's jump right in. Right, 7 different ways. Now, the first one is the common ones. Is it urgent? Is it important? Right, so they always talk about this quadrant, right? There are 4 quadrants, and you always see whether is it urgent and important. Now, the first quadrant is urgent and important, and then you have urgent but not important, and you have important but not urgent, and you have not urgent, not important. Obviously, very commonly, a lot of people go for when it's urgent and important, they always do that first, right? When it's not urgent and not important, it's always down the scale. We'll deal with it later on. Now, what it has been said is that you should be doing things what urgent and important. You should be in a way because it's urgent, right? So you need to do. But the thing is that you should tackle on the list of things that is important but not urgent yet, right? So before you get into the urgent state. So what happens is that a lot of people, they leave it to the last minute or procrastinate, or they have other things to look at, right? So what happened is that because they didn't have time, and we'll talk about time in a minute, which is a very big culprit on why we procrastinate, or why we don't get things done, or why we get things done, right? So right? So you should be tackling, ideally, you should be doing things that are important but not urgent before they get into the important and urgent, and you set everything into a panic mode, right? And then if it's urgent but not important, then you need to ask yourself, why is it that this guy, or why has it come into this state? Now, there's pros and cons on this, using this method of urgent and important. We will do urgent and important things first. We do urgent but not important things, or things like that. So the thing is that what I find that there are pros and cons. So obviously, urgent and important, you give it the immediate attention, you fight fire, because otherwise, if it's too late, right? When by the time you attend to it, the battle is already over. Yes, so there is a place for this when it's urgent and important, and for ad hoc, for unforeseen circumstances and all. But the cons of it is that very often you will be firefighting, right? Because you're always doing it urgent and important. You don't have time to go through the important but not yet urgent matters category, right? So and then after that, this important not urgent become important urgent. Can you see the vicious cycle? Right? So you need to at some point give yourself time to go and tackle the important but not urgent problems first before it gets worse. Right. So, and also the cons, right? One of the things I find that this method is that, it will depend on who's asking. Like very often, when the boss is asking, then some people will get things done. Well, I think this one is a very unhealthy phenomenon in long-term wise. So meaning that if the boss is not around, then things don't get done. Or, the junior will rely on the senior, oh, I can't move things. I've already asked, but they don't give me. And then the senior got to come, they have to appear and say that, hey, what's going on, right? And then the other side will give, right? So it goes into a downward spiral. So sometimes I don't really like this method, right? Urgent and important. But because it is the most common and this is the beginning, so I put this at the first one first, so to start the ball rolling. Now the rest of the methods, right, it's not that it's better or what. It's just there's no in particular sequence. It's just something that I have used over the years in stages, which one has come to me, and I've used it, and I find that it's really good. Now let's move on to the next one, because urgent and important is actually quite self-explanatory. I wouldn't spend too much time. Now the next one is called block time. Okay, so what is block time and how it works? Block time basically, right, when you look at your whole 24 hours and you block certain time to do certain work, right? So for example, and this is really, really good. And when I first heard it, right, I find it a little bit challenging to do at first, but when I have really no choice, things are getting overwhelmed, and I heard of this, and many people find that it is really good, they testify to it. And I find that, and I give it a go, and it really, really works. Now, how it goes is that, so you will determine, you will set a block time to do whatever that you need to do. So, for example, from 9 to 11, you will clear your email, right? And then you do nothing but clear that email, right? And if 11 to 12, you start calling people, and you do nothing but calling people. And don't let anything distract you. No, you don't reply the email, right? You don't reply the email, you don't reply the text, you don't do anything else, just calling and calling. Now, if it's 12 to 1, your lunchtime, go and have your lunch. You are very present, and 1 to 3, maybe you clear whatever paperwork, and then 3 to 5, you do certain things. So it's very block time, and during that block time, you do that thing only, and you don't let anything distract you. right? And so it's very focused. This is how it works. Now, before you say it doesn't work, right? Everything is urgent and all that and distracting. Now, it's really all in our mindset. Initially, I thought so also, right? But I realized that how it works, right, and how I apply is this. So when I first start my business, I find that I'm spending so much time. I'm spending 8-9 hours replying email, and I ask myself why. And so when I learned this, right, I have a block time. Okay, so when I start work at 9, from 9 to 11, I'll reply all my email. Anything that I receive before 9 a.m. the day, it get replied, it get worked on and everything, right? And after 11, I don't look at my email until 3 o'clock because that's my block time. 9 to 11 and 3 to 5, I clear my email, right? Now, between 11 to 3, I do other things. I will do my operations. I will do my planning. I will do calling of clients. I will do my marketing. Of course, again, I have my block time, right? So why it works, right? Is because you are very focused. Instead of distracting and being torn here and there, tossed around, and people are, if you don't stand firm and arrange your time, own the time, own your say that this, I need to do this, don't disturb me, I need, you will get your turn later on. You will get tossed around, you get pulled in all directions, and you know what, at the end of the day, nothing gets done. Your things, what you need to do, don't get done, but other people's things get done, right? So, and then you find that, oh, time not enough, where did the time go? And you have to do overtime and all that, right? So having a block time, it works because it makes you very focused, it makes you very present. This is the time I need to do, and because later on you cannot come back and do it, right? You cannot come back and look at your email. You will be very focused and know that you only have 2 hours to clear whatever task you have, the amount of time you have to allotted to it. Now, at the same time, right, why it doesn't work? Now, let me share with you why and under what kind of circumstances it doesn't work. Now, in the sense that it doesn't work yes, rightfully, and it goes back to the first point of urgent and important. And many people have there are times things really happen and ad hoc, last minute, and things happen, right? So you need to tackle it. So this is on one hand, you cannot don't ignore the whole environment. That was the mistake I made, because when I first applied this method, when I say ignore, I really ignore in that sense. I don't look at my text, right? Only to find that there was an urgent message. So now what I do is that I will just take a glance, but I will not reply no matter how quick the answer is going to be. Even if it's a yes, unless it's really, really urgent and the whole world is waiting for my reply and it's going to collapse if I don't reply. And even if then, right, if it's really that urgent, people will call me. So I know that's how communication set. Now, because before that, I have already, they know my practice. I stand firm and they know my practice, right? They know that I will reply at some point. If it's really that urgent, they will call me. So this is a practice that you kind of let people know that, hey, there is a time for this and that I will reply later on, but not now, right? Now, so what happens is that I will still but there's, when it comes to really, really urgent, really, it's pants on fire kind of category, right? I will just take a look, and if it's really pants on fire category, is life and death kind of thing, right? Do that as then I will then maybe attend to it. Right? If it's because I know in an hour's time I'll be attending to my message, I'll be attending to them. Can they wait for an hour? If they can wait for an hour, I will do it later on. If they really cannot wait for an hour, then I will attend to it. Otherwise, I will wait. They will have to wait for my block time, right? So you just need to take note of that. And same thing, if I'm on the phone and I look at the emails are coming in, I tend to just now, I will just sort of take a look, and if it's urgent, then I will just do it. I will also just allocate maybe 5 minutes to attend to it. I won't spend half an hour attending to it when it's not the time allocated time yet. Right? Okay, so another thing about block time is that what I do, the trick or to take note of, right, is to in order to use this method is to use alarm, right? So what I do is sometimes I can work things and then I can forget about time. I can lose track of time. And what I do is that, I will use my alarm. I will set an alarm to for an hour or two, whatever it is. And I will, when the alarm rings, I will then have to stop whatever I'm doing and go on to the next block of time. Right. This also made me realize, be more conscious of what's the reality of how much time do I need to complete the task. So for example, sometimes, right, we may overestimate or underestimate certain tasks. I agree, right? I totally agree. Sometimes I thought I only need 15 minutes, but in the end I end up 45 minutes. Right? So you need to, and having an alarm will help me to realize how much time I really need to complete the task. And next time it helps me to have a more realistic planning of my block time, right? Now it's also avoid distraction. We have mentioned that, and we are more time conscious in that sense. We won't get distracted. We don't get pulled in all directions, right? And we get more time conscious, which we'll talk more in a minute. Okay, that's my sort of my favorite point. That is at the later part. Now let's move on to the next one. The next thing I do is to put it into the calendar. Okay, this is a trick that I learned from my mentors also. I realized it's actually a very, very common method, right? A lot of people just put the events into the calendar, appointments into the calendar, and then I realized that what some people did is that they put every single thing into the calendar. If it doesn't being calendar in, it doesn't get done. So what they did is that, okay, so and also it goes back to the block time, right? So there's a time for everything. So even for exercise, even for reading, even for planning, they have already calendar it in. So in this way, right, the whole calendar doesn't just look like, oh, meet so and so, call so and so, attend this event at this time. It also include planning for this week. Okay, look, review the operation process and this and all that. So all the time has been accountable for, and no time is wasted. And they will know that whether this has been done, that has not been done. So if they really need to delay, that they will change it, but it still stays in the calendar. And all they do is that they just go by the calendar. They don't need to look at other things or other apps, because sometimes when you have so many apps and you have so many calendars or physical notebooks, right, you will find that you spend more time looking at your calendar and schedule rather than doing the actual thing, right? Yeah, no, some of you know what I'm talking about. So one thing is to put everything into the calendar. Even if you just want to like spend time with family, right? Some people even go to the extent just block these 2 hours is for family time. Okay, these 2 hours because maybe they have to deal with the US side, right? So they will do a particular 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. So they will know that, okay, need to sleep now, need to spend time with family now, need to do this, need to do that. So they will have all their 24 hours being planned out, right? And they know what are the things to be done. And if anything that they miss out, immediately they can tell, is there anything that they miss out? Yes. So calendar your activities in, right? Not just the events or meetings or appointments, calendar everything in. Yes. Right. That is quite straightforward. So let's move on to the number 4. First in, first out. Now, let me, this is actually something that I learned from a translator when during my law firm time. And what happened is that she's really adorable, right? And let me just adjust the screen a little bit. So what happened is that she is supposed to be doing some translation work, right? Translation of from English to Chinese, the legal documents. So, but because she's the only translator at that point of time, and the law firm was being quite fast. And what happened is that I gave her a piece of work to translate, and it was urgent. And she actually came to me and she said this, right? Next time you need to give me a bit more time. And because I have so many bosses to report to, everybody's urgent, everybody's work is important. Remember, everybody is important and urgent, and everything is due yesterday, right? So she was very politely, she said that I will do it for you this time, but can you give me maybe like 3 working days buffer to turn around? And she told me that, well, how she does things is that she actually do first in, first out. So whoever give her first, she will tend to do that first, regardless of the ranking of the partners or or the co-worker. It doesn't matter who gave her, right? You see, this is super good, right? She doesn't look at who's the boss's things get done. Okay, at least that things don't get done. She doesn't. She's someone who likes to treat everybody equally. So what she does is that she really have a queue number kind of thing practice. So whoever comes in, she will get it done. Yes, unless it's super, super urgent and last minute ad hoc. Otherwise, she will do first in, first out. And you know what? She actually educated me, right? Remember, she told me I must give her 3 working days notice. So she educated me. And next time whenever I need a piece of things to be translated, I don't wait until the last minute and give to her. I give her the moment I receive the documents that need translating. I give it to her immediately. Even if it means 5 days in advance, I give her extra time. So I don't have to worry about her, and then I just move on to my things while waiting for her to do it. And you know what? Usually she doesn't need 3 days. She just need maybe 1 or 2 days. 3 days is just something that she buffer. And true enough, right? Every time I give it to her, it gets done within 3 days. And I realized that, you know what? This method is actually quite good because everything gets done, and there's a consistency in terms of the response. It's not like, one moment she respond very fast within a day, next moment she took like 3 weeks to respond. No, she doesn't. She just do it because when she do first in, first out, she knows how much work needs to be done. She will always finish that day's work, and so that she doesn't carry over to the next day. Right, so it helps in that sense that that she doesn't even need to see who is important or urgent, right? She just do it in that sense. Now, so to me, and I learned that, right, and because it also overcome one thing that is that's beneficial from this is first thing, things get done regardless, and also second thing is things get done even the ones I don't like. So you know, along the way, right, at work there are always work tasks that you don't like, you know, boring stuff, or you're not very good at, and you're not very interested in, you're not very passionate in. Now, if you base on important and urgent, right, it will always go on to the bottom, and you will always find excuses not to do them, and things start to pile up, right? Things start piling up, and then it's really the last minute. You really have to do it. You have no choice but to bite the bullet and do it. Now, and then it becomes urgent, it becomes important, and it becomes in panic mode, which goes back to our first point of important and urgent, right? Don't leave it until it gets to the point of urgent, right? So when you do first in, first out, right? When the time comes to the things that you don't like to do, you have no choice but to do it, because you know, this is the turn already. You have to do it, and you do it while you are not in the panic mode, and you just tell yourself, okay, let's just get over and done with, and you just do it. And it's really a very good sense of achievement. I don't know about you, but when I do things that I don't like, right, I overcome it. Right? Actually, I have a sense of achievement because I actually did it. Right, so I overcome it. And Brian Tracy called this "eat the frog," right? And sometimes he said that he would do the things that you don't like first. Now, so when I do this first in, first out, actually the things that I don't like, it also gets done. I don't leave it to the last minute now. I don't leave it until it's urgent. I don't leave it until I have no choice. You know, it gets out of hand, it gets out of control, and it's really haywire now. And I spend more time sorting out rather than tackling it in the first place. So I like this first in, first out. And because it really prevents things to go from not urgent to urgent status, and also don't have to think and make a decision who gets priority first. You know, just do it. You know, it gets done, and people know that it gets done. And if they don't receive a reply from me, so something has gone wrong. Maybe I didn't receive the email. I genuinely maybe overlook it, and they will follow up with me. Right. Otherwise, at the same time, right, they don't come and disturb me every now and then, every 5 minutes. How is it? And they will know that with my practice, they will know that I will reply, I will revert within 1 working day. Yes? Now, okay, so some of you might be like, is it really possible? Well, to give it a go, really, really give it a go, you will find that it actually is really good. I find this really, really good, and I don't procrastinate. It doesn't give me a chance to procrastinate. It makes me face the music and eat the frog. right? And it also it make everybody happy. I don't overlook things. I don't forget things. I follow up with things, and it really helps me to get things done, right? I really love this method, right? The next one is actually, let's look at the next point. Okay, do extra 10%. Okay, right. Some of you might be thinking, what? I really don't have time to do the 100%. You want me to do extra 10% some more? Right. That's why you see, you need to, once you do the first 4 methods that we talk about, right? If you just use any of the 4 methods, you'll find that you actually get things done faster, more efficient, more effective. And the thing is that sometimes when we become better, right, we actually say you finish the 100% already. Whatever you set out to do, you have already done it. So what happens? The human nature is such a way that we will just sit back and relax, right? And then even though we got the list of things to do tomorrow, we wouldn't want to look at it. We will just think we'll look at it when tomorrow comes. Now, the thing about this extra 10% is something I learned from others, and it helps also, is that instead of just sitting back and relax, and which you can, but if you really have the capacity, and if you don't have, just push yourself a little bit and do the extra 10% that you of what you set out to do. Okay, so what do I mean by do the extra 10%? This extra 10% can be extra 10% of what you set out to do today. So meaning not only you finish what you set out to do today, and you do a few more items on the list for tomorrow's to-do list. And so tomorrow's task, you already do it today. And when tomorrow comes, right, you don't have that much things to do. And the second day you do the same, you do extra 10%, meaning that actually is now 20% of the third day. So can you see, every day if you do that extra 10% of what you need to do tomorrow, right? That means what you're supposed to do tomorrow, you bring forward to do it today. You will find that it's so easy, and at some point you may find that you actually finish everything that you need to do by extra one day. It is possible. I've done it, and I'm the biggest procrastinator known to my friends. I've done it, right. It's really, really good. Give you a sense of achievement again, and it helps you to motivates you to do it even better and faster as well, right? So that is one way of doing it. Or sometimes I know some of you are saying that, oh, I'm so tired already, right? Actually, no matter how tired we are, sometimes we can just push ourselves a little bit more. So maybe you can just, that extra 10% is what your body can do today. It's just like going to the gym, right? If you go to the gym and you have a personal coach, you know those personal coach are always there to torture you. So when they set sets of 10, they will always make you do maybe 3 more. Right? And I remember when I have a personal coach in the gym, and he said, okay, do 10, and he started counting down 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, and when it comes to 3, I was like almost want to give up already, but I was thinking to myself, 3 more, right? So and he just go 3, 3, 3, and like a broken record. I've already completed my 10, but because he keeps staying on at 3, I actually did 3 more, which I never thought I could do it. And you'll be surprised sometimes how much we can push our body. Of course, listen to your body as well. I'm talking about some of us who have the tendency to, once we finish, we sit back. Actually, we can do a bit more. If you really have, if you are completely exhausted, fine, take a break. Don't push yourself that much. We'll talk about breaks later on as well. Yes. Okay. So just do the extra 10%. You'll be surprised. How effective it is. How much free time it frees you later on. Okay. Right. Let's move on to the next one, which is actually very precious to me. Is I term it time consciousness, right? Be time conscious. Let me see. Right. Be time conscious. And there are 2 points I want to mention at this point of time. One is what is being called Parkinson's law, right? So Parkinson's law is not Parkinson's disease. It's different. And Parkinson's law, you can Google how it comes about. I won't spend time doing that. Now, Parkinson's law states that work expands to fill the time allotted. Now, to put it simply, is the amount of work required adjusts according to the time available for its completion. What is to put it even is simpler is if you have 8 hours to complete a task, you will use 8 hours to complete the task. And if you have only 4 hours to complete the same task, you will use 4 hours to complete the same task as well, right? So, and this is just so amazing. When I first heard of this, right, and it really, a light bulb just went on. And how it was explained to me is that if you have a plane to catch in 4 hours, would you still be doing all these things? Because my teammates was trying to convince me all some of the steps are redundant, right? And I'm like, no, this is important. And when I look at it, and they ask me that question, if you have 4 hours before you need to board a plane, would you do this? And I was thinking to myself, hey, you know what? They are right. I won't be doing it because I mean this is nice to have, and it's just too frivolous to even to count towards customer service. It's not. I'm not talking about going the extra mile. You're doing with spirit of excellence and having a good customer practice. If you have been following me for a while, you know I advocate that. I'm talking about, for example, if you need to write an email or write a letter, right? Or no, we don't write a letter now, but let's say you need to, and then a birthday card. You have 8 hours to do it. And you probably will find the best pen, you will find, oh, this pen is not so good. Oh, maybe I want to use colored pen. Maybe I want to use a highlighter. Oh, what should I write? I'll start Googling the perfect words, the perfect picture. Oh, I want to draw the person picture. Oh, I should test out on a piece of paper, draft out first, and then I draw on the birthday card because I don't want to spoil it. Now, if you only have 1 hour to do it, right? Do you think you will go through that? No, you just grab a pen and you start. Maybe you will spend a bit of time just thinking the words that you want to write. But other than that, you won't do anything so-called extra, which doesn't make any difference anyway, right? What difference does it make whether it's a blue pen or a black pen? I prefer blue pen, and I use different color pens to explain to my clients, especially because when there's comparison charts and I need to compare different timelines, it's easier for them to understand. So, but if I really don't have, or I'm rushing for time, or the clients don't have time to listen to me, I will just use a pen, right? A pen is a pen. Yes. So you need to think about it. What is it that you are spending so much time on? Yes. So going back to earlier on, I mentioned about my email, right? When I first start, I spent 8 hours of time replying all the emails, and after that, then I can do on other things, my planning, my marketing, right? So I'm spending 16 hours doing all these things. So and I ask myself, what is it that I have to do that I spend 8 hours emailing, right? Replying to email. So remember, I use the block time method, which is 2 hours. So I use 9 to 11, right, to reply my email, right? So this is also Parkinson's law at work, because when I only have 2 hours, I do it super fast. I come straight to the point. I don't think too much about how does this sound or what. No, it's not rude, okay? But it's just that you don't decorate with flowery terms. In any event, sometimes clients prefer a straightforward email anyway. They don't have time to read your long email. Right? So you will find that try this, right? Just tell yourself, be conscious of time, and tell yourself, instead of if now you're using 4 hours to do certain things, tell yourself that you only have 3 hours, and put on the alarm. Like use the block time method. You put on the alarm and say, I need to finish this in 3 hours. And slowly you cut back. And you will find that at some point, right, you will find that, hey, you know what? I can finish in 3 hours. Why do I take 4 hours instead? So, and then you slowly cut back to 2 hours and see how far you can stretch it. Right? This is really, really good. Parkinson's law works wonder. You really need to look at it. Now, I want to emphasize, I'm not talking about a sloppy job or cut corners. And I know everything needs time to do it. It's not at the snap of a finger, things appear. But I'm talking about the amount of time used to do a job beyond the necessary. So, for example, if you cook a big dish, obviously you need time, right? probably half an hour minimum, yet you spend 4 hours doing it. So you got to ask yourself, why did you spend that much of time when it could be only be half an hour? Did you underestimate or overestimate anything along the way, or were you just distracted, or were you doing something frivolous, right? Okay, so just take note. Just remember, if remember this example. If you have if you have 4 hours to board the plane, will you do this? If you have 8 hours to do this, what would you do? If you have 4 hours to do this, what would you do? Right? You do it as if you have half the time given. And also another trick on this is to move the deadline earlier. So for example, you have 8 hours to do, you move the deadline earlier in the sense that you cut it by 4 hours. So instead of 6 o'clock, you move it to say before lunch. Instead of tomorrow, you move it to today. And you'll be surprised how efficient and effective you have become. Yes? Right. Another point I want to talk about time consciousness is this. Time is life. Right? Time is not just a part of 24 hours, or or it's part of the clock, or it's a measurement. Now let me ask you this, right? I heard this story. If you have $86,400, if I tell you every day from midnight, once the clock strike midnight, you will have $86,400, $86,400 every day afresh. What would you do with this 86,400? Now you can do it whatever you want to it. The only thing about this 86,400 is that first, it cannot be kept, it cannot be saved, it will have to be, whether you use it or not, it will be disappeared at the end of at 2359, just before the clock strike midnight. And the thing about it is that when it strikes midnight, you will get a fresh $86,400 again. What would you do? No, you cannot save it in the bank, right? You also cannot so-called you have to use it, or if you don't want to use it, that's fine. That means you just leave it there. It will disappear at the strike of at 2359, and at the next day you won't get double portion. You will just get a fresh supply of $86,400. Now, what is this $86,400? It's actually 86,400 seconds for every 24 hours. Think about it, right? At the strike of midnight, you get a fresh 24 hours every day. How do you spend it? And whether you spend it wisely or not, it goes by. So why and you don't spend it, you just sit there and do nothing, or you waste time to do something, and whatever it is, right? The time will just flow. It will just fly by. We always say, right? Oh, how time flies, where did the time go? It is like this. You have to think of it this way. Time is life. It's really 24 hours of it. It's just not just 24 hours gone, but it's one day of your life gone. So what do you do? At 2359, whatever you use or don't use, it will be wiped clean. And at the strike of midnight, you get a fresh 24 hours again. So what are you going to do about it? Are you going to use it or wisely, or you're going to waste it and do nothing about it? Now, talking about time is life, right? I watched this movie called In Time. Some years back. It's such a good movie. All of you should really watch it at some point. So in this alternative world, in the show, right, it's a futuristic world where the currency is not money, but it's time. You use time. You get paid in time. You spend money. You spend, instead of money, you spend time to buy grocery, right? And there was one scene that is quite quite cute, right? And you know how we pay? We drive and then we go to a car park and we complain about how expensive the car park fee is. Now in this movie, same thing. There's car park, but they don't pay by money. They pay by the time of your life. So the cheap car park, you pay 3 minutes. The expensive car park, you pay with your 30 minutes of your life. Now think about it. The first time when I saw the movie, it just blew my mind. And people don't work for money because money is useless in that world. But people rob for time, so they can rob you and steal your time and add on to their life. So in one particular, there's this guy, right? He's actually 109 years old because he keeps stealing life from other people one way or another. Yeah, and you are being paid in hours as well. You're being paid in time as well. That helps you to increase your lifespan. Now, and obviously, there's some scheme going on. There's a billion and all those things. They lie to the people. And there's also a bank there, a bank where it's not, instead of storing money, they store time, where you can borrow time and then you have to pay interest also in time. Right? And it's just so interesting, such an interesting concept. You really need to watch it in order to understand what I'm talking about. And once you watch it, you cannot unsee it, you cannot unwatch it, and it will make an impact in your life just as it did for me. And you will start to see things very differently, and you will start to do things differently as well, and become a more productive and efficient people as well. Right? So just take note of that. Time, start looking at time, not just 24 hours, but look at time as in your life. Every minute of the time that goes by is every minute of your life being flow by, right? It's shortened by it, so as to speak. Oh, by the way, the movie, right? There's a countdown kind of clock on each of their hand, everybody's hand, and it says it's countdown to the day of your death. Oh wow, it's quite scary, but you watch it. It's not a horror movie, but it really makes you more conscious of what's going on, and can you imagine with a countdown clock to the last day of your life? You won't waste time. You will be very productive. You will be very efficient, and you will think of the fastest way and easiest way to do things. Yes, and you do things you major in the major things and not major in the minor things. Right? Now, let's just move on to the last point, which is remember the who's. Now, at the end of the day, right, talking about time is life, which brings me to this final point, which is remember the who's. At the end of the day, always remember who are you doing all this for. Why are we talking about being productive and being efficient, being getting things done more faster and more being done? Why? Right? Truly, this is where you truly get your priorities right. Because at the end of the day, it's about the who and not just the what or what you get, your achievement and all, right? And so let's look at the who. First up, I put yourself. It's not about being selfish or self-centered. When you talk about the in airline, right? They always talk about, when you have to put on your air mask or oxygen mask first before you help others. I used to wonder, and I think most people also wonder, isn't that a very selfish way? Even for parents, put on your mask first, your oxygen mask first before you help your children, right? They always do that announcement. And I always wonder why. And then somebody my mentor tell me straight in the face, right? And say that you are no good to people if you're dead. And and that really hit me. I have a lot of mentors who tell me in my face, and I'm very grateful to them because it saved me a lot of unnecessary mistakes. Right. So take care of yourself first. And what do I mean by remember the goals and take care of yourself is you plan and you work towards your long-term goals. What is it that you really want in life? What is it that you want at the end of the day? What is it that you want people to talk about you at the funeral wake and on your obituary? What do you want people to talk about to describe you? So you plan and work towards your long-term goals to provide for your family or whatsoever. What is it that you want ultimately? And with that, right, also you need to have enough breaks for yourself. Remember, I mentioned about having appropriate breaks as well. Have your me time, have your fun time, time to space out, do whatever it is. You need that breaks. Otherwise, you will get stressed out. You can also, yes, you can allocate it in your calendar. Okay, this is my me time. Don't disturb me. Yes, please go ahead. We all do that, and it's not something unusual. Okay, it's a lot of people do that. Now, also take care of your health in terms of physical and mental. Don't come to the state whereby when you're young, you use health to get well, only to use wealth to get health later on. It's not worth it, right? So take care of your health while you can, not when you have no choice. Yes, so take care of yourself first, and also look at your family needs, right? And prioritize your family and your loved ones, including your fatherly and motherly figures. And sometimes there are certain things you don't just as much as I'm a workaholic and all, do things in your work, do to your excellence level and all. But sometimes you really need to get your priorities right in terms of you need to allocate time for your family and your loved ones. Very often in our calendar, right, we do this. We forgot to allocate the time for your families, and you need to do that. Otherwise, they get squeezed out of your schedule. right? You need to you do that, and there are sometimes there are certain things that are once gone is gone. So, for example, many parents, especially first-time parents, when they see their babies growing up, right? Every parent will tell you, "Oh, where did the when they were growing up, they wish they could stay at home and watch their babies." They will never grow tired of watching their babies and taking videos and showing people the videos and all that, right? And you know what I mean. We have tons of friends who do that, and it's with your own family members you have grow tired of it. But when it's somebody else, so sometimes at some point you want to say, "Stop it! I've seen enough of your babies. They don't look any different from yesterday. You just show me like an hour ago." Right, but to them, right, to the parents, the babies growing up is just such a joy. And truly, once it's gone, the first 2-3 years, once it's gone, it's gone. You cannot relive back. You cannot go turn back the clock. So there are times when our family and loved ones are the ones who suffer in the midst of us pursuing success, prosperity, and nothing wrong with that. Promotions, all these are good, but don't forget, who are you doing this for? If you are doing all this for your family and your loved ones, then shouldn't it make sense to allocate time for them as well? Then why are you doing all this but they don't see you? So remember to allocate time for them as well. Now, also another category will be your friends. And yes, sometimes we have friends we were in school days, and why is it that we kind of lost contact? We don't really lost contact. We still have the contacts, but we don't meet up so often. We don't even have text. I mean, there's really no excuse in this age where technology is so easily we can just send a text and all those things. Right? There's really no reason why we cannot stay in contact. And why do we? Is it that we only see each other during funerals and weddings? Why? It's so sad. Remember the friends who walk with you, get drunk together, do naughty things together. Those are friends. It's really important because sometimes they are the one who help you when you are in need, right? And it always helps to have one more person to help, a friend on your side. You never know when you need them. Yeah, you need a supporting hand. Now, next is also remember who are your teammates, your colleagues and all. They are not just somebody, another arms and legs to help you to get things done, to help your achievement and all. They're not your tools, they're human beings, right? Sometimes you just need to maybe just stop your pace and then just say, "Hey, how are you?" And then show some concern to them and how's things in the family. Hey, the last time they told me this, how is it? And even if it's just pet, they are, let's say they are pet person, they are animal lovers, and I just ask them about their dogs, they will be so happy. Right? So just stop for a second and ask them. And what is it? Now, also, not forgetting others, we always look at how we can contribute back to the society. And you don't have to be rich and famous to do that. Anytime you can do that. And I tell you something great that's come out of it when you help to contribute to the others, right? And you think of others, is because you will realize that how blessed you are, how fortunate you are, and how much you have actually. You have more than you need. Seriously, most of us are actually in a very good position to help others, and it makes you have a better gratitude heart, and with that, right, you will actually it will overflow into many other people's skills, such as being more compassionate, being more patient and all. So with this, right, you will actually help to be a better person in that sense, and as you become happier, right, happier people, they are actually more productive people. Right? And you can Google about it. There's reports on that as well. Now, some of you might be saying, "I don't even have time for myself," right? And for some reason, right, when you contribute to others, time is restored back to you somehow. Somehow, remember we talked about Parkinson's law earlier on, right? And also, it will once you allocate things in this part of work in, you will find that you will somehow get things done. I'm not talking about spend tons of time, a very long period to help others. No, but just maybe one day a month or one day or 2 months. That's good enough. Now, seriously, it will help you to develop a good attitude in terms of gratitude, and gratitude helps you to adopt a better attitude towards your work. Yes, right. So this is in summary, the 7 different methods, different ways of being more, getting more things done faster Right, here you go. Some may not be your typical ways, but are practical methods which others are using. Now, what do you think of it? Let us know. Have you tried it? Have you not tried it? Or you think it will work, will not work? Just let us know. But do give it a go, right? Obviously, there are 101 different methods to be more productive. What about you? How do you get things done? Do you start with so for example, do you start with the hardest task first and the rest of the day is easy? Or do you start with the easy task first to get the momentum going? So for some people, they want to start with a relaxed work first, get my cup of coffee, and then they get into the momentum. Or you are the kind that you don't relax until all the things being completed first. Now let us know in the comments box. If you are hearing some of the method for the first time, again, do give it a go. You never know. You might just you might just bump into a jam, right? Let us know what's your experience also if you're doing it for the first time. Now, so that's all we have for today. Do you have a burning question when it comes to people, whether it's dealing with others or yourself? Let us know in the comments box, or you can drop us a private message. If you're shy, we will answer to the best that we can. Now, many people have asked me why am I speaking and doing training on the topic on people skills. It is because people skill is a very practical and important skill set that I think, right? I would say it's a life-saving skill set. I know many of you are concerned about being replaced by technology and artificial intelligence. I totally believe that people skill is one skill set that will never be replaced by technology and AI. You can learn about coding, cybersecurity, or whatever competent skills for your occupation. But these are technical skills that will get obsolete and you will have to keep improving yourself in this area, right? You know, you have read articles on where, you know, they talk about jobs that will disappear in the next 10 years, right? Or maybe next 2 years, 5 years even. Now, competence skills, yes, they are important. I'm not knocking them down. But behind every hardware, software, non-living thing, there's a human being. This is what keeps me going because I know behind every camera, there is one person watching, learning, needing this message. Now, it doesn't matter what business or what industry are you in, you are always dealing with people. So furthermore, let's face it, we are all social animals. We crave for the company of other people. This pandemic has shown us more so than ever. With all this safe distancing, not able to gather with your family and friends, it has shown us that even with the best technology, it cannot replace the company of each other. So you might as well start learning how to deal with people. And the first person to start with is with yourself. So hit the like and share button. Subscribe and follow us in this journey of improving yourself. Okay, so see you in our next video. Let us know any question you have in the comments box. Bye.